I'm Scott Cooper from Go One, and today I'm joined by Julie Watson. How are you going, Julie?
Awesome, thanks, Scott. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Julie is a microlearning expert. We've got her in today to give you some tips on how you can improve your microlearning. Julie, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'd love to. Scott, and anyone who's listening, I do training, coaching and facilitation, and I have done for probably about the last 20 years. And increasingly more and more people are becoming time poor and wanting to embed the learning that they've had, but without going back and redoing training or coaching programs. So the obvious thing is to break learning down into bite-sized chunks and make it essentially micro, but also as well making it fun and experiential as well. And it's got to be continued. So what organisations need to do, what businesses need to do for their teams, for individuals, is get learning that's long-term, that's sustained and embedded into an organisation, taking not only the values of the organisation but the values of the individual, and getting a learning that's continued and ongoing.
Yep.
And microlearning fits really well because it's small and we can still get about doing the day-to-day business that we need to do.
Yeah. If people are getting started with microlearning with their team, what sort of advice or tips would you give to them?
Yeah. So just because it's micro, it doesn't mean that it's just going to happen. We still need to have a mindset and a preparedness to set aside time and have a willingness and a desire to learn as well. But also as well, leaders in organisations have got to create the space for people to be able to do that, and individuals have got to have that mindset to be able to do it. So there's got to be accountability and there needs to be ownership in there as well, and a willingness to own it themselves, but then also as well help other people in their teams own it as well.
Yep. I'm sure you've got plenty of great examples of how people have applied this to their training. Have you got a couple of examples that you might be able to talk about that might help people?
Sure. You can pretty well much put micro-learning in anywhere. So we've used it in sales teams, say for example, just simple things like working on questioning and listening skills. Once a workshop has been delivered, keeping it sustained with activities that are either weekly, daily, monthly, that are broken up, so we can use it for sales. We can use it to embed values and culture change, creating space and freedom for teams as well. It brings about rapid change as well, because it's not just going into a workshop and say spending 6 hours in the room. We do it incrementally out over a period of time. So organisations, some of the global banks have taken this on, and they've had, say, 6 values that they wanted to embed across the organisation. The culture was dysfunctional, so they took those 6 values. They worked on one value a month over 6 months across an organisation, 7,000 people, and significant large change came about because the people in the organisation were owning the change.
Yeah. I guess when we're talking about microlearning, we're also talking about tying that in with informal learning a lot. How do you see that evolution of how microlearning and informal learning are sort of pushing that traditional education certification model aside slightly?
So that's a really good question, Scott. So microlearning does link to social learning, and it comes in there as well because people, we're now knowing that people love stories. Every time I look on LinkedIn or Facebook, we're talking about stories. Microlearning, it adds to the story of the formal learning, the certification learning. It's not to replace, but it's nearly to enhance it and make it grow the learning that happens in the business and in the organisation. Sometimes we don't need a certification or a certificate. We need to perhaps adjust our thinking or our mindset, and micro learning helps us do that beautifully.
Yeah. I feel like we're in this stage at the moment where everyone had jumped on online learning and they switched everything they did into online learning. But we're in this phase at the moment where people have realized that that's not the only solution, and they need to have that blended learning mix with that traditional classroom as well as that supporting online learning there. How do you see that evolving, and do you have any tips for people who are trying to get that blended learning solution up and running?
Yeah. So definitely, I remember back in the 90s, heaven forbid, that we did blended learning solution with, and I didn't even really know what it was. We'd get people to watch a computer-based training course, and then we would dissect it and pull it apart. The challenge is keeping it, again, accountability, allowing time, and also as well knowing what your outcomes are that you want from the learning, but not having them set so rigid. So it's different from an aim and an objective that you have say on a course that you might go on over a couple of days, but actually looking for saying, well, if our people started doing this, what might it mean for our business? So taking micro-learning, online learning, and as well as the classroom, it enhances and it adds to the whole thing. But being prepared to ask the question, being curious about the solution that you're offering, and being brave and courageous as well.
Yeah. We obviously deal with a lot of buzzwords floating around the industry. Gamification is a hot one at the moment.
Yep.
Have you got any tips for sort of what people should be careful of, or how they should try and work with gamification that might not, I guess, get them in trouble there?
Yeah, gamification can be an interesting one. I've played with gamification, and one of the things that gamification needs to be relevant. It has to be relevant to the individuals and also the business as well, and the culture and the climate that's going on. So also as well with gamification, you need to make it accessible for all people as well, and that's where you can take micro-learning and use the micro-learning gamification, which are essentially gamifications that people play within their teams or on a workshop and utilise it like that. But gamification, one, needs to be relevant and accessible to everybody. And when I say accessible, simple things like games can come whizzing through with their questions and their quizzes and etc. And sometimes it can feel like I've either passed or I've failed, when in actual fact I might know the answer, but I'm just not quick enough to click on the button. Sounds so simple, but that's what can happen to people when they step into that online gamification world.
If you had to pick sort of two things that were the key points for people to make sure they have that relevance in their gamification, what would you tell them to focus on?
What the business is trying to achieve, and where are the gaps in the business at the moment with their people and their behaviours, and what they're trying to achieve, and their people, identifying the gaps.
Yeah.
And asking their people as well.
Yeah. I definitely think that feedback loop is critical to everything that we do in the learning space. Yeah. So that's it. Thanks for having a chat with us today, Julie. It was great to hear from you, and I'm sure everyone that's watching will appreciate it.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.